What's up, everyone? Stephen Rue from IGN here, and I am joined today by Sledgehammer's Cameron, who is the creative director, and Jason, who is the lead designer of the new Call of Duty Zombies map, The Frozen Dawn. And we are just going to jump right into it.
Yeah, so we've dabbled in Thule before. We kind of got into the front porch of Thule, I guess you could say, and the Tortured Path, where we were able to collect the legendary Sword of Barbarossa. The team grabbed it, they hopped on a plane, they thought they were scot-free. Thule was not ready to let go of this yet. Thule actually reached out and swatted them down, as well as an armada of Nazi Zeppelins and planes as well. And so Thule was not done with what needed to happen there. So our team is now, they've gone from the front porch of Thule to they are now in the very center of of what was once a massive city on the southern continent there.
Okay, so what I'm getting from that is this is going to be a very big, and on the screen, as you can see, it's going to be a very big zombie map.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So going from your first zombies map, it was a lot of Easter eggs, very Easter egg driven, and then you got to beat the big boss at the end.
Okay.
Yep.
The second one, there wasn't a bigger boss at the end, but it was just a cluster of things just flying at you. And then your third zombies map, actually, you guys kind of went off the first two themes, and you stuck more to, would you say, the zombie roots of just killing zombies over and over again?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, DLC 3, we tried to do something very different with the gameplay. We wanted to mix it up, and people responded both, well and negatively about it. But
Well, that's always happening with change.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know, when you do something new, you're gonna ruffle some feathers. for
absolutely,
sure.
I'm extremely proud of what we made. It's really an interesting way of playing zombies. And DLC 4, we're going back to our roots. We're doing something interesting. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think with Frozen Dawn, we've learned so much about how to craft a zombies mode. We've been into some more experimental spaces, and this one we wanted to finish strong. So this is a classic zombies map. But when I say classic, we're talking merely about gameplay and just kind of core design. Like, we are going to see some brand new things. We're going to see some shocking revelations, and this is, I think, our art and environment team just completely knocked it out of the park. We've been kind of keeping the reins really tight on our mode thus far because we wanted it to be chronologically locked into a World War II era. We wanted all of our levels to seem like something you could have seen if you were in Middelburg or on Heligoland or in Berlin at the time. But all bets are off with this, with Frozen Dawn.
Corpse Eaters. No, yeah, we also wanted to do something interesting with our Easter egg path. So, in TFR and The Darkest Shore, we did something a little bit more linear. Players are already seeing that there's a lot to kind of sink your teeth in here. There's stuff everywhere. You just kind of, you stumble upon any one part of any of the Easter egg steps.
You can sink your teeth in, but if you have crooked teeth, you can go in any direction to completely ruin a metaphor.
Yeah, and like you guys said, with your art and design team, I'm looking at this little clip here, and this looks amazing.
Yeah, you're getting a glimpse of Greater Thule extending out beneath the ice, and so the idea is as you look in and kind of start exploring some of the art and hieroglyphics, this map is rich with kind of narrative elements that are going to clue you into what's been happening over the millennia.
It's also a really important part of game design. We wanted to show you something really important, really quick, really early on.
Gotcha.
So, you have this beautiful vista that you come down from you descend into Thule, and you see this thing, and what is this thing?
Yeah, you cannot miss this.
Yeah. Well, and to continue what I was saying earlier, in our previous maps, we've been really locked to, and deliberately, purposefully locked to, keeping everything feasible and believable within the era that it took place. And a lot of that was a deliberate strategy, so that when we finally were able to break in below the surface of the ice here in Antarctica and really get into something that mortal eyes have not seen before, it was going to be shocking and unique. And the reactions thus far have been overwhelmingly positive for the aesthetic, the look, and the feel of this area.
Yeah,
and they haven't even uncovered all of it yet. There's all sorts of wonderful, horrible prizes waiting ahead.
They're about halfway.
I'm already loving the scene and the overall theme of this this map so far.
Something you commented on is the lighting. I think the lighting, they did an amazing job this level. And again, you haven't seen everything yet, but just even this room right here with the beautiful reflections on the sarcophagi.
Yeah, it's giving me like a mummy vibe, and I'm really digging it.
Yeah, there's something that is very thematic to stories from this era. We've had a lot of reference to the Indiana Jones franchise or Hellboy, and it's because this is a time when we were uncovering a lot of mysteries from a lot of these ancient civilizations, and there was a lot of adventure going on in the discovery and the exploring. And we wanted players to feel like that was going on. I mean, sure, we've got the unfathomable evil of what the Nazis were doing here, but there's also this case of seeing new things and uncovering dark mysteries that is, I think, at the very core of a zombies game.
You actually just touched on something that's kind of the core inspiration for all of this, which is during the 40s, during the 30s and 40s, during the adventuring era, right? They didn't have the internet. They didn't have, a lot of good communication. They couldn't share what they actually found. So people would find these tiny little pieces and then share it and then imagine what that possibly could mean. And sometimes they got it right and sometimes they got it hilariously
crazy wrong, yeah.
That's okay. Hey, you should press that button right there.
This one right
Yeah.
here? Okay, we've activated the ancient forge.
Why'd you do that?
And now a bunch of stuff is on fire.
It's probably when you're dealing with zombies, fire good, zombies bad.
Well, not this far.
Quiet. I'm Easter egging.
Now you said at the top of the video that we are going to be expecting, or we can expect a lot of new mechanics and new things on this map. Are there any new enemies on this map?
Yes, there are.
In fact, good, important clarification, and I'm going to get on Twitter and make this clear as well.
Real fast, I think you should have this. That is a prize weapon.
You're going to want to grab
Thulean
the Thulean
scythe. Am I
scythe,
saying that right? The
Yeah,
Thulean scythe.
Thulean
Okay.
scythe.
So there's as you've broken into the this ancient city of Thule, these were the first. This was the first group to have mastered the art of raising the dead, and of course there are many of them. Some of their more powerful warriors who are just beginning to stir as things come to life underneath the ice here. And so there was a blog that was accidentally released a while ago that had a bunch of information that the journalists had just kind of put up there as filler space. Unfortunately, a lot of people took it as gospel, and luckily we've been able to get on and clarify that happened. But one of the things that they just put on there was a false name for this new enemy. The enemy is actually known as the Corpse Eater.
The Corpse Eater.
Yeah,
okay.
and this is a Thulean warrior who's busted from the ice and is so starving for the Geistkraft energy, which powers the undead, that their hunger draws them initially to the other zombies here. As we saw up on top, there's a Nazi Zeppelin that's crashed down here, and it's unleashed an entire army of Nazi zombies down here. And so the very first thing these corpse eaters are drawn to are the zombies themselves, and so they're actually not going to attack you as a player initially. They attack the other zombies. However, once they've fed and kind of satiated themselves on that, they will turn towards warm blood, and they will be, as a lot of you have discovered, more powered up and at more of the apex of their warrior. So they're the corpse eaters. And this is a very ancient term that was just used towards these warriors once they were zombified.
And you talked about something kind of fun about this whole map. These ancient warriors, how alive they actually are is a good question. But this whole city, all of Thule, it's starving. The whole city is starving.
Yep.
There's blood, but it's all inert. It's all gray. It's all, well, I mean, red, but desaturated, and we fill a lot of it with this Geistkraft energy, which had been collected from Straub's creations and brought back down.
Which was stolen initially. I
Yeah.
mean, Barbarossa's sword was pulled from here, and so it's almost like there's been a bleeding wound in the city for so long, and so it's hungrily devouring that energy back in and coming to life as you're here. And so that's why, I mean, there might be some complaints about a lot of soul boxes. That's actually a deliberate thematic choice with this city because it thirsts. It thirsts for blood and energy. A lot of the inspiration behind this was based on some images we saw of glaciers and kind of these icy patches down in Antarctica
Yeah.
that appear to be
Iron
melting
leakage.
blood.
Yeah.
It's pouring blood into the ocean. It's iron-rich, seawater, and we're definitely playing on that concept.
If you
of
hang a
this.
left right here, actually, you can see some at this door on the right. Yeah.
Okay,
So you can see, if you look down, you can see these
You see the,
glaciers.
the
Oh.
cascades of blood.
Yeah.
Look up on the left on those rocks. You'll see just
Yeah.
blood flowing down.
Yeah, this is
and
awesome. Now this is where we were initially.
Yep.
sitting,
Yeah,
correct?
exactly.
Okay.
And so, and I always thought it was interesting scientifically that the chemical composition of seawater is not too removed from blood itself, and so we're kind of tying a lot of that together in on this map.
So this Thulean scythe that I picked up earlier, I'm actually loving this thing, and it
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
it binds to your melee. So
It's one of our first double attack melees, which I was so excited when the animators were able to do this.
yeah, it's great. It feels great.
Yeah, you don't want to use it on the exploding guy. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
So when you guys are creating these new zombies maps, how much do the previous zombies maps take place in your design process?
Oh, it's very much an evolution from what's happened before. In fact, if you look back at the Shadowed Throne, you'll recognize that we actually had an array of melee weapons, and a lot of that was us testing to see how are these going to play with the audience. Are they going to enjoy using these? It allowed us to get a base of of animation to see how it felt in this mode. I mean, the response was overwhelmingly positive. People loved the Shadowed Throne melee
Especially
weapons.
the dagger.
Yeah, and so we're like, okay, yeah. So the dagger was a favorite of ours, so much so that it was actually very transformative towards one of our weapons here.
I mean, we also talked about like map layout and Easter eggs and steps and all the different things that we put into the map, and it's all inspired. We need to know what we did before. We need to know where we want to go in the future. So we don't want to walk the same steps over and over again, and we want to do something interesting and new. So, this guy right here playing on the right, Sean, did some of the most intricate, interesting Easter eggs that haven't actually even been solved yet. And
Yes.
I'm really excited about that. And also, one of the things that I personally really appreciate and want in my maps is, although it's fantastical, I want grounded science into the Easter eggs, and some of the Easter eggs that haven't been found yet draw from real life science.
And I saw a funny meme actually about this with I think it was me saying, hey, yeah, we're basing all of our stuff on grounded science, and then into Thule we go,
Yep.
But here's the thing: it's the term is mundane science fiction, which is a weird word, but it means. It doesn't mean that like there's nothing fanciful going on, but what it means is that everything that happens, there's an explanation behind it.
Actually,
It's not just a hand wave of a wizard did it,
Yeah.
Well, for example, right here on stream, you can see this giant thing. It's called an orrery, and it's meant to represent a planet or a sun and the things orbiting it. And so people have solved this Easter egg, and they've had a lot of fun with it. But we have this star chart over there on the side. It actually is all pretty standard. We didn't go too far away from how that stuff actually works.
We know a lot of ancient civilizations were fascinated by the stars, and it was one of the first ways they developed a lot of their ideas for calendars and seasons, and even mathematics by the orderly procession of the stars and how they work.
I went to Amsterdam a number of years ago, and I walked into this little antique shop, and they had a orrery like that, about the size of cantaloupe, beautiful, and I wanted it so badly, and it was 160,000 euros because it was actually from the 1600s. So
Oh wow.
they've had this stuff for a long time. It's gorgeous and intricate, and the gears themselves to make that stuff. I mean, back then they actually had to file the gears down perfectly. We can machine that stuff now.
Very, very handcrafted stuff. And so we wanted that feel here. We wanted to make sure this echoed every brilliant aspect of some of these ancient cultures. The idea is this Thulean civilization was sort of the progenitor civilization, and not in a good way, not in a like loving founding fathers sort of way, but much more in a they probably took slaves from all the other continents, and this is how some of those earlier folks. And if you look at the hieroglyphics around some of the rooms, it'll kind of educate you on some of the dark history of Thule and how they were at the root of so much that we've seen. And you'll notice there's some similarities to Egyptian architecture down here, similarities to Incan architecture, to some Babylonian stuff. The idea being, of course, that all of those ancient civilizations had dark memories of those, who used to rule from the southern continent.
That is absolutely fascinating to hear. So you'd say Thule is like a amalgamash of ancient civilizations.
Well, more like the source code for those civilizations.
Uh-oh,
You know, when civilizations fall apart, anything that they learned gets left, gets pillaged, it gets
Scavenged sometimes,
and
yeah.
scattered around the map.
Oh, there's a corpse eater.
In this,
This is a corpse
He
eater.
is,
This is
he is
the new
mean
enemy.
right now.
Yep.
And he's actually, like you said, he's not attacking me.
He's attacking. He's trying to get to you.
Some groups are calling them Mad Boys, which I like slightly better than Void Sizzlers, but
going back to this conversation about the ancient technologies and civilizations that have died out. In the other room that you guys were just in with the giant forge, you'll actually notice on the floor there's iron chains. And so you've seen metal throughout this, but it's mostly stone. It's mostly stone and carvings. But we're imagining that this ancient Thulean race discovered the ability to forge metal, which is why we represented a giant forge. But it's very rare and very important. So anything that's metal is actually large and important, or small and important.
So a little inside tip for people who are a little stuck.
Yeah.
All right, we've revealed the. How
And that's a good point as well. That we've revealed the Uberspringen. I've had some people questioning, okay, if this is an ancient city that has not been tread on by mortal foot since Barbarossa was here and retrieved the sword, why are there gun boxes and all the other kind of Nazi technology down here? You need to remember, just up above in the ice that is broken through in a lot of places, is a Nazi fleet of zeppelins and ships. And that's where we have all the Nazi zombies down here. Their rudimentary tactics, and you saw this in Berlin as well, is when they make a landing in a new territory, they go in and they push the gun boxes into place. They push the elements that will be used by the Nazi soldiers as they follow in. So they're kind of on their basic programming and are in setting these things up. And what's more, there's a consciousness here in Thule. You may have heard him whispering to you, who's also invested in helping our heroes make their way through. And so that's why there seem to be some areas here that are prepared for you. It's not a gamey hand-waving thing. In fact, you'll see there are kind of some scrape marks on the ground as these things have been moved in and taken down from the Zeppelin up above the ice.
Look at this, a hidden entrance right here.
Well,
Not to mention too those locations that you go to, the trial rooms. Somebody's teaching you something there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Somebody's preparing the way, and so probably opening gates for the zombies as they drag down these gun boxes and place them. So, again, and I know this is something that there's some people who are just like, well, I don't care, let me in to throw. For those who do care about story, there's a reason that everything is down here, and we've sat and over. Just incredible volumes of Mountain Dew and chewed on exactly why this is here, and that's one of my favorite parts of making games.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Well, that and telling stories about why things are where they are, and
I think one of the most fascinating.
And there's a grenade in there.
Nice,
Well, this looks comfortable. It's just filling up with.
We are.
By the way, the audio team did such an amazing job on that.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Makes me uncomfortable every time I do it.
Yeah, our audio team, again, they have been celebrated around the industry. In fact, an award-winning audio team, and this really has been just their piece de resistance, I guess you would say. Like the sounds in this level are so good. They're so sharp, so visceral.
Not to mention the VFX team did an incredible job.
Yeah. Well, everybody who got on this. It's one of the fun things about being at the end of your DLC season is everybody has learned how to just be a master at the tools, at the in-game tools, at the game engine, and so you're really getting some of their best work.
Oh, where's this guy going?
He's chasing
He's
somebody
looking
up
for
there.
something to eat.
Remember, these guys like to feast on the other zombies first.
So when they're glowing red, that is when they are fully.
That's when
feasted?
they've become satiated.
Gotcha.
Good thing.
Wow, he looks hungry.
It's been, that's what happens if you miss lunch for a couple thousand years.
Now, you guys were touching earlier about telling a story without really any cutscenes or like really a campaign mission. how important is it to have all the characters and them talking back and forth to each other to really understand what is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, we always get a little intro and an outro cinematic, to kind of set the stage and give us some denouement. But the storytelling tools in this type of game are they can be a challenge to tell a story with. First of all, you're going to have anywhere between 1 to 4 players in at a time. They're going to be constantly running, constantly fighting. There's going to be zombies roaring and slobbering behind them, and so telling a story, you've got dialogue. But there's no guarantee that all 4 characters will be at the same time, and so we've got sort of a tiered dialogue system that, depending on how many characters are there, you'll hear different elements of the story. And I've said this before in other DLCs, and can't hurt to repeat it again. If you want to get every detail and all the elements of the stories, you got to have all 4 players, all 4 characters, and the main characters: Marie, Drostin, Olivia, and Jefferson. Additionally, there are letters scattered throughout the level that were the notes taken by a character who had a very interesting kind of arc as they entered here. Additionally, you're going to be getting radio call-outs from Rideau, who's just trying to make sure, he wants to make sure you guys can get out of here with the sword. He knows the sword is vital to ending this undead scourge.
And his team is getting overrun. They need it.
Well, if you saw the opening cinematic, they are really at a desperate stage. So mankind, I mean, life itself is really kind of on the verge of extinction at this point.
So I love this mechanic, and it seems like it's in every Zombies map, the charging mechanic. And when I see that, I know I'm doing something right. So I guess I'm going to stay in here. And
again, we talk about the game term is soul boxes, right? We like to think of them as Geistkraft receivers. These are the thirsty mouths of Thule trying to drink in this energy that was
Clean
stolen.
energy technology.
There we go. Very, very low on pollution. All it leaves behind are corpses. Very biodegradable.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are on
talking about the soul boxes too, it's kind of a funny thing. The game is about shooting zombies, and we want to show progress in certain ways. So the different things that we can do are an audio, visual, animation on these zombies. He's stepping on that plate right there. It's depressing. You hear an audio sound. So little details like that tell the player that they're doing something. We don't want to tell you exactly what you're doing sometimes, and we want you to figure it out, but it's important to tell the players that they're doing something.
Yeah.
So when you get a kill and he kind of like lifts up in the air, you've seen that before. It's important to know. I know that something is important here.
We're never going to leave an important Easter egg step without some sort of audio, visual, or animation cue. And so if you're testing out, and a lot of the more veteran players know this, you're testing stuff out. You're never going to have to ask the question, did that do the thing?
Yeah.
You should be able to listen, see, or hear. We're never going to just kind of leave you guessing.
Not to mention the soul boxes are low-hanging fruit. People figure that out. There's much more interesting Easter eggs and responses and interactions throughout the map.
And it's important to know, soul box doesn't mean we'll just kill as many guys as possible right there. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways and varieties of approaching a soul box. Let's try to use the Geistkraft absorbent input areas more. Soul box is just so not our game. we don't deal with souls. There's not something you can I can't call my buddy at MIT and say, let's talk about the chemical composition of a soul. But Geistkraft, however, we can really get into the combination of electron, graviton, and its quantum state.
On a difficulty level, what would you rank this map?
Ooh, I don't want to answer that question yet.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I want people to finish it first.
There is a lot of really and I can say safely at this point, I have not seen any teams that have gotten into the hard stuff yet. We've got some crews that have unlocked some of the weapons.
Yeah, if you hit the touchpad, you'll notice in your journal, there's a set of sets of 6 icons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have about half of those now.
Yeah.
Which is great. There's a lot of these that are somewhat easy to get into. You can get they can get progress pretty quick.
Yeah.
And those guys have done an amazing job finding this stuff.
Incredible problem solving. The one that blew me away, where I saw a group that tried to brute force the orrery.
Yeah.
When they're like, guys, take 2 minutes and try to look at the patterns. They're like, nope, there are this many possible combinations. We're going to do all of them, damn it. And more props to them for muscling through it like that.
Well, they finally did actually get some assistance on how to use
Yeah.
this star chart, so
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah. So one of the things I really love about the community out here is that there are those that are playing that are on YouTube or Twitch going through, but then there's the rest of the community that's watching all of them and chiming in and kind of like everybody's helping in it. And it's the coolest example of like collective consciousness, that I've ever seen.
It's really enjoyable to watch,
Yep.
actually.
Yep.
It makes me want to be involved, but I can't.
Right,
I shouldn't be.
Right. It's the entire community that collectively laughed at the Ready Player One Easter eggs that we would have solved in mere seconds. Drive
Yeah,
backwards.
that's
Come on.
actually
Come on.
a great comparison.
I would have done that in the first 15 seconds. Yeah.
Do you guys get together at the office and like have a bunch of streams up and watch?
Oh yeah. No, it's like it's like we're some like governmental NSA group because
Yeah.
we're watching 50 different screens. And I've mentioned this before. I mean, don't hate us, but we cheer when you guys go down in flames. We cheer when you die because that means our mysteries live for another hour, But we also cheer when you solve stuff. Like we were laughing at a group that was really looking for there's a special rune that needed to be whacked, and it was kind of hidden above a doorway, and I can safely say that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's
they
all
found
sorts of
it,
doorways.
yeah.
And eventually they found it, but wow, it was a painful experience trying to see that happen. But we were also cackling and kind of rubbing our knuckles
And
together.
also, we get on the edge of our seats when people walk right by or look at something
like
important. We're
they
just like,
passed it 5 times.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yep,
awesome.
yep.
When you guys are designing these maps, specifically this map,
Uh-huh.
would you say you design what Easter eggs you want to do in mind first, or does that take place after the entire map creation?
Oh, it has to be involved in the process.
Yeah.
We don't want to just make a layout and then say, oh, we'll do some Easter eggs.
No.
This whole map was built with the Easter eggs specifically in mind.
But also, it's a weird kind of evolutionary process because we've got the plan. We of course blueprint things out initially, but then as we're like, damn it, what would be cool? What would be really cool? And those end up being the very best Easter eggs. That's when we'll get redfish flipping through a ship. By the way, you can blame Sean over here for the craziness of our red herring in the Tortured Path, and we've just got a very talented group of designers. In fact, I want to give a shout out to Sean Fennell and Jay and Gardia who are here. We've got just a very clever, creative group.
Not to
That
mention Steve Borowski.
We've got Steve Borowski, who's been with us since the Final Reich, and really just knock it out of the park with these mysteries.
They are the backbone of this team.
Yep.
All right, these zombies are getting stronger now.
Yeah, they tend to do that. It's a thing.
And you still only have the Thule in sight.
I do. I should find out what I should do with it.
Oh, we got a man down.
Oh no, Jay, what have you done?
Probably trying to save the world or something.
Man. So, question for the voice actor of these zombies: is it just all one person? Like, how does that work out?
We've got 2 very talented individuals. It's really one who does the majority of these designs, and that is a full-time job in Hollywood. Is monster voice dude.
Is it really?
Yeah, and can do anything from growling werebeast to slobbering zombie to a giant multi-voiced panzer mortar. I mean.
All right, so we are in the ice caves right now. So
Oh,
this-
I just heard something. Okay, now let's see if we can't do some edumacating by watching the hieroglyphics.
Got
Oh
it.
yeah. So Sean's again. There are a lot of details there that may look familiar that lead towards some of the history of what the Thulians have been involved in and who they influenced, and I think the more we pay attention to our environment, it's more than just hitting squares. When you're on a wall, there may be some things to be learned from the ruins, what's written there, and looking for, I don't know, familiar faces.
Familiar faces, guys. I think they're purposely saying faces, just FYI.
Well, you don't say familiar elbows. I mean, that's just not a saying. That doesn't,
Although that is an elbow right there.
So, looks like I did something here.
You did.
Yeah. So, placed a spine is what that. Lead me to believe.
Now, the thing I love about zombies, there are no checkpoints. So, as you're investing your time into this, it gets harder at every wave. You're discovering the Easter egg that you need to discover, and once the waves get too hard, and like let's say you wipe and die, you have to do all that over again.
But you do it better next time.
But you do it better next time, and you have to do it efficiently. And then you just keep doing it, and it becomes so frustrating. But when you do finally get it, it's one of the greatest feelings in a video game that I've ever felt before.
Well, and it's, one of my favorite parts, again, is the co-op nature. Now, again, we love the solo players, and I know it's we've been taken to task sometimes for having making it more challenging for that. I just believe if you're going to go solo at this, you want a challenge, and so Jason has spent some extra nights and weekends, specially tuning this for the solo players. But for me, my favorite experience has always been the co-op, like getting together with a bunch of friends, strategizing together, talking about why this happens, making jokes, smack talking when somebody goes down because a pest bit them on the ankle,
And also, just to talk about that a little bit too, before too much speculation happens,
Right.
there are lots of little details from beginning to end in this Easter egg that have been tuned for solo play.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. There's still tricky stuff. I was listening to one of the streamers talking about the orrery solo. That is a pain, but you can do it, and he did it.
You can do
actually.
it. It's very doable. And here's the thing, and I will play through solo from time to time. It's a different sort of experience. We want that experience to be challenging, and sometimes if you've seen an Easter egg get solved by a group of 4 players, it sometimes has a different type of solution if you're a single player.
Exactly.
It's a different sort of a game. So we love the solo players. We really
not
want
to
to
mention too, these weapons are all very interesting in their way. Some of them are very much tuned for solo play, meant for solo play. I'm a solo player mostly, so I wanted them to be useful and interesting.
Well, and it's an important point. Every single Easter egg that we've got can be done solo. We've not ignored the solo player. We've just there's just a lot more work that goes into the co-op experience. We want to make sure that that is rewarding as well, and that was really kind of given to us as our prime mission. This map may be the most fun for our solo players out there right now.
Hopefully.
I think the interesting switching of weapons and moving through these, and especially because this is not a linear path sort of thing. So you get up in the morning and you've got a certain special feeling that you didn't feel before. You can take a different way there.
I love this room, by the way. It's so weird, it's so creepy, and it's so gross, but everything above water is clean.
Remember, we're looking at this one right
Yeah, he's
here,
in the
so-
same
Oh, he's
room.
in the same, okay.
Yeah. Everything's clean, so that's an odd thing.
Why is that so
I know,
clean?
it's
Maybe
interesting.
yeah.
Why is it clean?
They've had the Thulean cleaning duty.
Cleaning.
Well, I mean, when you have zombies, what are you going to use them for?
Right. Over a couple thousand years, at least sweep up. So, I mean, you're gonna be dropping fingers and toes left and right.
I'm trying to, let's see, there's stuff here.
That might be the most perfectly thematic sentence for zombies ever.
There
Zombies,
is
there's
stuff
stuff here.
Stuff here that looks like I can do things.
That's a
with.
T-shirt. We should make that T-shirt. Nazi zombies. There's stuff here.
I want to actually hear that in Drossman's voice.
Hey, there's stuff here.
Now, this Thulean site seems like it was designed to help solo players. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, it was designed to help Thulean warriors battle their enemies, but I guess if you're trying to look at it from a meta perspective.
There's something about the Thulean scythe that has not been discovered yet too, which I'm really excited about. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Even so, as people have discovered, these weapons can be found in their Thulean form, and then they can be upgraded. There's this empowered version, and the empowered version unlocks new stuff. speaking about stuff.
New things?
Yeah, and so if you got a weapon, you're like, I don't know if this is my favorite weapon yet, unlock it all the way, and I guarantee it will become your favorite weapon. You kill the first
Kill
bull.
the first bull. Okay. Kill the second bull.
These guys are co-oping these Easter eggs.
It's like you guys made the game or something.
We may have some insights. And again, the wonderful thing is the brilliant zombies community out there has kind of cleared the way for us to comfortably move through. Sometimes when we're out here and we've got to play before the game is released, we're like, okay. In other words, you got to play stupid. You can't solve any Easter eggs. Play dumb, guys. And it's hard. It's actually challenging to not go where you know you're supposed to go. So it's kind of nice. We've got a little bit of an envelope where we can safely go through and play. If you're watching carefully, you might see some faster or more efficient, more aerodynamic or necrodynamic ways of playing than
Like Sean just now?
Yes, exactly. Can we copyright necrodynamic? I want that to be our
I think
thing.
you should.
Okay.
It's like I'm out
You
of
spoke.
ammo.
You spoke about it publicly, so I think already you have claim to it.
Okay, there we go. Necrodynamic. Copyright, camera date in 2018.
So, I'm looking at these symbols. I'm assuming I'd have to go somewhere else to see these symbols again. So let's go adventure. Again, I am loving the overall theme of this map. It just feels. What, did you guys say Indiana Jones earlier?
Yeah, a little bit of that feeling of ancient civilizations, lost to time. You're the first ones through, and luckily you're a group that's. It's one of my favorite things about the group of heroes that we've got here is they're not just they're not all just real good fighters. They're academics. They're people who each in their own way know about art, engineering, history, and sort of the layered elements that you need to get through on this. And again, if you play through with all four of these characters, they will drop hints on what's going on around you and kind of their own insights.
Use their education and their experiences.
Yeah,
to be
based
able
on their
to
education,
inform
yeah.
you what they don't know.
Yeah.
So this thing is glowing.
Yeah.
I wonder what this does.
That's a thing, as we say.
That's a good question. Sean's rocking that sniper rifle, lining him up.
Oh yeah,
Knocking him down.
That is a sign of the sharp-edged,
Oof.
professional murderiness of our team.
He knows how to use that weapon. That's great.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And this map layout, it's a lot longer in some places. It's a lot wider in some places as well. So it actually lends itself to different weapons than usual. I mean, some people still love their SMGs, and please use those as you like. But we definitely made this map with the intention of hoping to adjust the meta just a little bit.
Right.
And yeah, I can definitely tell that this map has a lot of long lanes, so it makes it easier for kiting zombies as well.
Well, any map we build, we play through it just before there's any detail, before there's a single hieroglyphic has been etched into the stone. We just make sure there's a good flow, and that's what this, Jason and his crew are really, really expert at, is just making sure that they can move. And that was one of our core pillars for Sledgehammer's version of zombies of this mode. We got rid of the repairing the windows. We got rid of a lot of the elements that we felt slowed down the game, because this really, you must flow like a stream if you're gonna be playing this. You always got to be moving.
And sometimes that's not even appropriate as a mechanic. Like, could you imagine repairing windows in here?
Yeah.
No. Putting some basalt pillars back on other
Right.
basalt pillars.
You want to know? Can I confess something? One of the other reasons why I was against repairing windows is, narratively speaking, I'm like, I just can't come up with a reason for why you would gain tiny handfuls of Geistcraft for boarding up, 2x4s on a window. And like that was going to stretch my storytelling muscles just a little bit beyond where I wanted to go. So, like, no, we're nixing it.
Alright, we summoned a hammer. I'm trying to find.
Yeah, they're chasing it around the map right now. If only they could catch it. Yeah.
Now, how often are you guys keeping up to date to see if people find out these Easter eggs after a launch?
Constantly.
Constantly?
Yep. We were. I mean, Jason and I were drinking and texting each other until 2 a.m. last night, just like, oh, they almost know they had it. Oh, and sharing the highs and lows of the experience.
I mean,
and
I really love watching people figure this stuff out. It's really exciting.
it's a weird sort of Christmas morning feeling of
Yeah.
stuff you've been laboring over for months and months and months, and will they get this? Will they know this? And being
Well, I know they're not going to find everything.
Yeah. But and then you're saying you're like going to bed and thinking, when I wake up, how far will you don't want to sleep. You almost don't want to sleep in case you're going to miss something.
That's a great feeling.
I think there's an Aerosmith song about that.
So we're chasing the hammer.
Oh. Did he like he's sneaking up on it or something? Sneaking.
There's a theme in games in general that I love. I mean, I play Monster Hunter all the time. I play lots of games like this. I love named weapons. I love the concept of a weapon having some kind of sentience of some kind. Not necessarily like a human sentience, but something about it is almost.
It's a personality to it. I mean,
Exactly.
this has been around since Excalibur, right? Since
Excalibur's probably the reason why. Actually, I like that theme.
yeah. The idea, and it's really, warriors
Very
have been
quiet.
naming their swords, probably, cavemen naming their clubs since the dawn of time. There's something about the bond a warrior has with their weapon, and we really like that idea. And so, of course, we had that taking place here in Thule as well. But in Thule, you've also got, the odd Geistcraft ties to cerebral waves that, can give an eerie sense of persona to
Or
these,
understanding.
weapons. Yep.
Maybe it isn't the weapon. Maybe it's just your perception of the weapon.
Ooh.
Very deep.
Ooh. There's that buzzing. I've got to say, the pests in this level, they seem more frustrating more pesty than
Well,
they've ever
they have
seen
a larger
before.
runway. They can run straight.
Because we've got this nice little flow.
Yeah.
Oh, they just get to.
I mean, they kind of get a
Yeah.
little bit of a speed boost. Not really a speed boost, but they get their max speed at a
They-
straightaway.
Yeah, once you get that ramp up.
There's gotta be something. Right?
That does look remarkably buttony, doesn't it?
Oh, there's a thing here.
Oh, there you go.
All right, looks like the hammer is not disappearing.
No, it's just he's being coquettish.
It's coming your way.
Now, I love what you guys did with the Pack-a-Punch.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to give away too much information for people that are still looking for it, but it's definitely not just hanging out.
No, the
The overspringing needs to be interesting, but it definitely needs to not be a pain because it's something that people will interact with regularly
Yeah.
throughout the map.
it's kind of it's a lot of the kind of the back and forth that we debate is you want to hide it, we don't want to super hide it. You
Yeah,
gotta
exactly.
fight to find it, but once you know where it is, you know where it is, and it's and obviously in this case as the undead were dragging it from the crashed Zeppelin and setting it up, it was a place that they felt would be useful for the soldiers that followed them.
It's like we're hanging out at the landing zone. I'll make my way there.
Finding some.
Yeah, I
German
was gonna
technology.
say if some Nazi Zeppelins and planes are gonna
It's not working out. Run.
go down, there's probably gonna be some good stuff you find in the wreckage. And especially, I mean, this crew, these four, spent a solid couple hours hanging out on the top of one, heading from Bliegel into Berlin. And so, oh yeah, that's a corpse eater right there. First time
He
he's
is
seen
angry.
First sunrise he's seen in years. Oh, he got charged
Oh,
up.
Lord. Oh, that's
I love that effect, the explosion effect.
Yeah, the
Those little
corpse eater
Bits of
go boom.
corpse ash and char.
not even try to say this word.
Uberschnell.
That is an Uberschnell, my friend.
Uberschnell. Okay. Taking this elevator.
Elevator is a strong word.
Let's take in the.
It's kind of a blood
well, we're lost in
tube.
blood right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're back in the pack punch. I don't think I should have brought this here. Now,
You definitely don't want to leave it here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be a safe place to keep it.
It's true. It's true. You need to store it for.
You
a
want to
second
make
before
sure
you figure it
some
out.
kids don't come by on their way to the 7-Eleven and grab it. You know, that's a good.
Fill that up with
Wait a
Geistkraft Corpse energy and do something nefarious with it.
Okay, so let's try to find out where this goes.
That hammer is just being such a flirt.
Uh-oh, that's a big boy. Now, can you guys comment on how... Can you guys give us a percentage on how much it's been completed, this map?
Well,
You mean
as
by
I-
the community?
By
As
the
I checked
community,
about an
yeah.
hour ago, I think we're about 60%, which is great.
Yeah,
Of the primary.
Yeah, I
Easter
was gonna
eggs,
say
so-
like it's interesting because we've got all sorts of interesting side stuff going on right here, interesting narrative stuff right here.
Some people found some stuff about
Yeah,
some ravens.
I'd say a healthy at least halfway through.
Okay.
But there's some amazing stuff lies in the way.
So there's Easter eggs within the Easter eggs, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh my, okay.
Uh-oh. That's gonna leave a mark.
Oh man, that zombie scream right there, that was very,
He might have said a bad swear.
I'd love to be in the VO booth for that one.
Ugh.
Now, as we're coming...
Oh.
Oh, wow.
You know, those wooslings are so clumsy. They'll just send themselves right off the edge there. That's something you want to take advantage of.
That's a good way to bait. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You're gonna have to pull... Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's we're at the 21st wave here. It's
It's getting tough, yeah.
Yep.
Now, as we're coming to an end of this, is there anything else you guys would like to tell the audience that they might not know, like if they're in a casual scene, or what can they expect?
You know what? This is we are just on pins and needles watching everybody get through this. As soon as we're done here, we're gonna head back and start watching some more of our favorite teams going through every bit here, and it's been an honor to be a part of this community, to build with this community, to play with this crew, and really it's I can't imagine a better experience than designing games for such an active and communicative group of players. And so,
And to comment on what you just said too, giving some advice to the more casual people, definitely look at the community, watch streams, chat with people. Everyone is extremely, surprisingly, and I love this,
Very helpful.
it's extremely helpful and extremely friendly. They will all want to work together to do this. They're going to go out of their way to help as best they can. They're going to make some videos that are really nice quality content.
well, I think when you say it's a co-op game, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got to be in with 3 other players.
Yeah.
Co-op can also mean just if you're a solo player, get on and do some homework, do some research. Now, we know for a fact that you can play through by yourself and uncover and solve everything just by looking at the right clues. But it's more fun when you do it, listening, watching, and talking with the other members of the team. That's what it was. Our core focus was on with this. So whether you're solo or whether you're getting in with some friends, be a part of the community.
And you
It's
might
a
find
great
something
group.
that they don't find, which
Yep.
is great.
Yep.
Share it with them too.
Getting to be the first one who raises up that flag and say, "Guess what I found?" There is no better rush.
Yeah.
Great insight. Oh, looks like I'm going down. All right, well, I think we have to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
joining us here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
If you guys are watching, I highly recommend you to rewatch it and listen to their tips and insights.
We may have dropped a clue or something.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's intentional. So rewatch those, and thank you guys again for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
This is IGN. This is the new Call of Duty Zombies map. Oh, we are dead now, and we'll catch you guys next time.
And we're dead.